Welcome back, boxing fans. So we just finished the DAZN Matchroom card, and obviously Boots Ennis did exactly what we thought he was going to do. He came through with a big fifth-round stoppage of David Avician. David Avician fought game. He was a game fighter, like I knew he would. I was disappointed that his corner stopped the fight in the sixth round. I think at that point they could have continued fighting. I predicted that Boots Ennis was going to stop him in the eighth round. I think if they would have went back out there, that's probably when really Boots Ennis would have officially stopped him. But it is what it is. It's disappointing that Boots doesn't get to make a bigger statement by literally getting the stoppage. But it was still a great performance. Obviously, he's been out of the ring for a long time. And because of that, it's good to see him get some rounds. I would have liked to see him maybe get a few more rounds, but it is what it is. Now, onward and upward, forward we move. If you were watching the DAZN presentation, you could see that they mentioned three particular fighters as potential opponents for Boots Ennis moving forward. One of those, of course, was Mario Barros. The other one was Stanionis, and the other one was Vergil Ortiz. And we know historically Vergil Ortiz and Boots Ennis have been tied together for a long time. And it makes sense. Both of them were up-and-coming prospects, both two of the most exciting fighters at the 147-pound division, both guys that definitely represented in a positive way. But, you know, currently Ortiz is fighting at 154 pounds, taking on a real legitimate opponent next. So they should take his name off that list and just focus on the other top guys at 147 pounds. Like Zaki had to say in the comment section, yeah, Conor Benn, right? Conor Benn, if you think about him in a similar situation to Canelo Alvarez right now, who it looks like may be going to the UK to take on Chris Eubank. For a guy like Boots Ennis going to the UK to fight a Conor Benn, that's a huge fight. It's not a big fight maybe in America, but it's a huge fight for an up-and-coming fighter like Boots Ennis. You get to sell yourself to a whole new market, become far more global, get probably your career high payday, and definitely put yourself in a real positive position moving forward, right? And obviously we know Ben has a big following in the UK, and that name recognition would mean something to a young fighter like Boots Ennis. Of course, people love to tie young fighters to old fighters, but the reality is Boots doesn't need to move to 154. He can stay at 147, make his name here. After he fights these other fighters, becomes unified. We have top guys at 140 pounds that are going to be moving up as well, right? Name opponents. Historically through boxing, a lot of times the biggest name guys people fought were the smaller fighters coming up in weight. We saw that with Marvin Hagler when he fought Duran, Hearns, and Leonard. We saw that with B-Hop when he fought Tito Trinidad and obviously De La Hoya. We saw that with Golovkin when he fought Canelo Alvarez. So it's no different here. Potentially you have guys like Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia, and a plethora of other fighters at 140 who obviously will be coming up in weight as well. Boots Ennis does not need to chase after Bud Crawford, right? Bud Crawford is aiming for bigger and better fights. He ain't interested in taking on a young, hungry lion like Boots Ennis, and he doesn't need to. And for Boots Ennis, if you're going to spend your whole fucking life like David Benavidez, clout chasing fucking one fighter, yet not really building your own resume, historically, you're going to be the one that suffers because people are going to look at what you did and they're going to be like, this dude was overrated. Look, he didn't fucking do anything. Hollow Ninja says, love you, Sean Newton. Let's be real. Boots better stay planets away from Bud. Hollow Ninja, Boots ain't ready for Bud. And there's no need to even bring those guys in a conversation. The only people literally pushing for a Boots Bud Crawford fight are Errol Spence fans. I agree, my brother. Is Conor still suspended in the UK? He is suspended, yes. But as I say, that's not a fight that has to be done right away. Hey, Sean, I'm extremely worried about Bud versus Madrimov fight. I got Bud beating Ennis. Madrimov is dangerous. Madrimov is dangerous, but Bud Crawford is a superstar, right? When you think about the level of competition Madrimov has fought, It doesn't come anywhere close to Bud Crawford, whereas Bud Crawford has fought opponents as good or similar level to Madrimov. So, doesn't mean Madrimov couldn't potentially win, but it's unlikely. I mean, what we're hoping he does is show out and impress people with his performance and push Bud Crawford like nobody at 147 did. Maybe force him to go the distance and really have to, show a lot. But most people expect Bud Crawford to stop him, probably inside 9 rounds. I got Bud beating Ennis. Boots should say 147. Fans only want to hope he moves to 154 to lose. Ennis too big for welterweight. Well, he's not too big. He makes the weight. As long as you make the weight, you're fine, right? It's ironic that Boots is too big for welterweight, but David Benavidez is not too big for fucking 168. Boots makes the 154 rehydration clause, but he is a big dude at 147. Ennis fans don't want him to move since there is actual competition there. That's not true. Boots fans do want him to move, but the reality is you cannot continue to chase after guys that obviously have their own agendas. You need to build your own fucking legacy. David Benavidez needs to build his own fucking legacy. Boots Ennis needs to build his own fucking legacy. These guys don't need to chase 36, 37-year-olds. What they need to do is beat all the best guys in their division, lay claim to being the best fighter in their division, and then these big fights will come. Boots is a welterweight. I would favor Ortiz against him right now. Guys like Madrimov are complete and can pull upsets. Is it just me, or does Boots' facial structure make him appear chinny? I kept getting the feeling David Avocado was about to hurt him. David landed a lot of punches, and Boots never looked like anything impacted him at all. And he got hit by some clean shots, especially the right hand. Ennis had a rehydration clause on him tonight. Huh? What are you talking about? I kept telling people, Sean, Bud could have been at 160 undisputed by now. He is a complete fighter. He's tough, strong, and all I see. Hopefully, Philly didn't have a bunch of fights with fans. Rick Glazer said places like Chicago, Philly, Detroit don't get big fights because of the violence it can bring. Historically, that's probably true. Some people saying Crawford is ducking Boots are the same people who claim Canelo ducked Andrade and the Charles sisters. Exactly. Madrimov helped Bivol train for the Canelo fight and succeeded. Yeah, but that don't mean anything. Bivol, the Mexicutioner. But, it's intriguing, right? Obviously, we're happy to see a guy like Boots Ennis get a good victory, get busy. The one good thing about him leaving the PBC or Showtime to sign with Matchroom is he's going to be busy. I guarantee that his next fight date is already set. Eddie Hearn already told him this is your date, and now they're just going to figure out what opponent they're going to fight, right? But the date is set, right? So for him, that's great. You're going to get paid. Fucking your training schedule. You can stay consistent. You don't need to worry about, not knowing, being out of the ring for such an extended period of time. And even if your opponent does pull out, they're going to find you a replacement, just like they did today. And that's what's great about Matchroom. They're a business, and they work efficiently like a business. Bivol is a 175-pound fighter versus a super middleweight. That means a lot, Sean. I like Madrimov. Madrimov is a hard puncher. He's awkward. But come on. Madrimov has fought opponents that are nowhere close to Bud Crawford's level. Example, Michel Soro. And he was not able to dominate Michel Soro, right? And Michel Soro is about the same size as Bud Crawford, a lot of similarities to Bud Crawford, except he's not fucking anywhere close to as good as Bud Crawford is. Looks like a Loma retirement party is going to be made in November. Oh my God. Why are you people such haters, man? You should be fucking praising Lomachenko. literally praising Lomachenko, because in boxing today, you don't see people in Lomachenko's position putting themselves in tough fight after tough fight after tough fight, not worried about all this other shit that other people worry about, but literally chasing the best opponents available, right? That's what he's doing. He's literally fighting the best fighters in his weight division. And whether he wins, loses, or draws, I mean, history is going to look at him very favorably because he's doing what historically great fighters did. And unfortunately, today, people are allowed to not do it. And then when you do it, people are going to literally hate on you and clown you. Clowns critique Shakur for being safety first and now criticize Boots for taking risks. Well, I don't think people are moaning about Boots taking risks. They just see that if he did that against a better fighter, it could be trouble. But obviously, against a better fighter, he probably wouldn't fight the same way he fought against David Avician. But Shakur only fights one way and never can change. Boots Ennis can adapt. He showed you in the first round, he was able to easily control the distance just with his jab. And then he decided that David Avician didn't have anything to worry him. So then he started hunting him down and breaking him down and got caught in the process by some shots. Sean, do you think Fundero can keep Spence off him for 12 rounds? If Spence gets past his arms, he will kill his body. It's a great matchup. At this point, I don't even know what version of Spence there is. So I don't have much faith in Errol Spence. He's going to have a new trainer. Who knows what he's going to do? We know what Fundora is. He's a fighter that's awkward, long, got dangerous elbows. And, you know, if he's able to use his jab like he did against Tim Tszyu, it could be a long night for Errol Spence. Walking the uppercuts and hooks, having problems getting past his jab, right? Mentally really being checked out after getting destroyed by Bud Crawford. Who knows what mentally he's already talked about. He don't need to fight anymore. He's got enough money, he can retire. When you start talking about that, it begs the question, how determined are you? Where do you see Shakur signing? Whatever. I'd prefer that he signed with DAZN. But I wouldn't be surprised if he signs with Floyd, which I don't understand how that would fucking be successful. Madrimov did have an easier decision with Soro in the rematch, yes. Richard, because Tank is going to body bag him. Except Zaki. Why did Tank Davis duck him for 7 years? The fight ended because of a headbutt, but Madrimov was piecing him up. Yeah. What do you make of a fight with Jesus Ramos and Boots? Sign me up. Again, David, man, you consistently are jumping outside of weight divisions and pushing fights that don't make any sense. Aren't there a fucking shitload of opponents for Jesus Ramos at 154? Like Virgil Ortiz, Tim Tszyu, Madrimov, the other IBF Russian fighter, a rematch with Lubin, a Charlo fight. Literally, you could come up with 10 fucking fights at 154 pounds for him. Do you think Janibek will move to 168 now? I don't know if he'll move up because obviously he's a unified champion. If he moves up, he's just going to be a contender. I guess because he's in a position he could force the WBO to mandate a fight with him and Canelo Alvarez. But then again, Canelo has an IBF mandatory fight that's being mandated. Benavidez could force the WBC to mandate his fight with him, and then him forcing the WBO to mandate a fight with him. Canelo can only fight one fighter at a time. So, we will see. I got Spence beating Fundero. Yeah, I have no idea. I have not seen Errol Spence beat anybody at 154 pounds. So how excited or how positive can I feel towards him? As far as I know, he's a guy that potentially is just shot and done. Where are we? You guys are leaving comments fucking by the dozens. We will see when they fight. Yes, we will. That's the whole point of making fights, right? Hall of Fame, Danny Jacobs officially retires as he should, getting beat by Shane Mosley's son. And I predicted that fight. I would like to see Boots fight Stanionis. Yeah, that's a fight that can be made. That's a fight that should be made. Unification fight. Great matchup. Inui fighting C-level fighter in Dohoney, supposedly a C-level in Goodman after Inui got to move up. Zaki, why do you keep exposing yourself? Inui can fight who he wants. He already fought the top 3 fighters at 122 pounds. Why does he need to move up to 126? Who is there for him to fight at 126? There's no star in that division. There's nobody that's going to be a big name. There's no fighter that could potentially get him to go to America, right? He's fighting in Japan. He can fight whoever sells in Japan and wait until an opponent is worth fucking fighting. Example, a Junto Nakatani or a Bam Rodriguez, fighters that would come up to 122. At 126, those boys need to figure their shit out. They need to fight each other and determine who's the best. And at that point, he can move up and fight that guy. If any fighter was boring, Shakur card, it was O'Shaquie Foster. Shakur didn't put me to sleep, but Foster did. Well, they were both boring fights. Good morning, Hard Recoil. Boots looked like shit. Very easy to hit and was 2 weight classes bigger than a shot fighter fighting on 4 weeks' notice. Well, I think you're just sounding a bit like a fucking hater. But in Virgil, destroy Boots. Okay, everyone's allowed to have an opinion. But Boots literally fought a guy that he knew couldn't hurt him because he felt the punches and went in there to be exciting, to entertain his crowd by going in to break him down and stop him, which he did. So he did exactly what he needed to do, coming off of a long layoff. I don't want to hear no excuses when Tank sleeps Loma. John Mays, 7 years. Let's not fucking act like Tank Davis somehow is fucking some legendary fucking great fighter because he's fighting Lomachenko 7 years fucking late. It's a great fight. Best fight on Tank Davis's resume. If he wins, congratulations. But then he's still got Shakur Stevenson, who right now is ranked above Vasily Lomachenko at 135 pounds. So you're still going to have to fight Shakur. Beating Lomachenko is not going to fucking allow you to duck Shakur Stevenson. How do you know Inui is fighting C-level opponents? He's fighting Dohoney, and Dohoney at this point was a world champion, but at this point is obviously not that level of opponent. But Dohoney's been fighting his last 3 fights in Japan. He's a name that Japanese fans recognize, and Inui and his promotional company in Japan aren't marketing this fight for Americans. They don't care about you, Zaki. And why should they? Because it doesn't matter who he fights, you're not going to give him credit. Bam versus Martinez is next, you think? Maybe Bam versus Junto 2025. Well, Bam's got a mandatory fight with Estrada, so that's next. But then hopefully after that, he unifies with Martinez, which would be a fucking great fight. And if he beats Martinez, I think at that point he should move up and try to take on Junto Nakatani, because what opponent at 115 is better, right? You could fight the other Japanese WBO champion, but he already got beat by fucking Ioka, right? So, become undisputed, is that significant? If you're a 115-pound undisputed champion, American fans still are going to fucking dismiss you, downplay you, and fucking not give you any credit. Just look at Inui. I hope we get Janibek versus Mabila. It's an amazing clash of styles. That would be a fucking great fight. And obviously an in-house fight, top rank, a fight that could be made. I would fucking sign off on that fight for sure. Janibek said he was willing to fight Benavidez. I like it. Yeah, he say that, but obviously promotional companies and everything else is involved. Inui should fight MJ Akhmedov, then move up. Why move up? He should fight MJ for sure. But there's no reason to move up to 126 because there's no fucking star fighter at 126. Junto Nakatani is a way better fighter than anybody at 126. more established, fucking a way bigger name in Japan. A Junta Nakatani Inoue fight in Japan is Tommy Hearns fucking Sugar Ray Leonard. It's the biggest fight in Japanese boxing history. You could go fight anyone at 126. Who gives a fuck? Who's good? John is here. Oh, yeah? I still think Bud beats Boots. Yeah, but thinking Bud beats Boots, there's nothing negative to that. The majority of hardcore boxing fans would favor Bud Crawford to beat Boots Ennis. The only people really that continue to push Boots Ennis on Bud are Errol Spence fans. Even when Boots was a Spence mandatory, they were still fucking pushing him towards Bud Crawford, even though he left the WBO to go to the IBF, right? These guys will do anything to dismiss and downplay Bud Crawford. Boots Ennis got to build his own fucking legacy, not be like David Benavidez and try to clout chase off of an established pound-for-pound star, right? Do your thing, buddy. Do it. And that's what Matchroom's going to do. They're going to build him up, give him tons of fights, and allow him to be him. I watched highlights of the guy Janabek was supposed to fight, and he was tough and would have put up a good fight. Yet the dude hasn't fought anyone. I have Fundura winning. I'm leaning towards Fundura winning. Danny Jacobs was a great fighter in his prime, not quite a Hall of Fame level, no. I'd like to see Inoue fight Mahoney Goodman at the end of 2024, MJ and Nakatani in 2025. That's exactly what I hope. Obviously, I was hoping that MJ would be one of the two fights in 2024. And then still you get Junto in 2025. And maybe even Bam Rodriguez later on that year for 2025. Maybe at a catch weight, maybe they can do like 120 pounds or something, right? Because that fight is the kind of fight where you could get Inoue to actually come to America, right? Bam Rodriguez, the monster in fucking Vegas, right? That's a fight that would be big enough that would justify Inoue actually coming to the U.S. But there's no other fight. No fight at 126 right now justifies Inoue coming to the States. Who's at that weight class that's worth fucking talking about? One of the best fighters, most American fans don't even know who he is, in Espinoza, right? And they would just call him a flat-footed Mexican, and they wouldn't give him any credit at all. So then you got Lopez, flat-footed Mexican, right? Literally, there's nobody at 126 that American fans are really going to fucking give Inoue any credit for beating, except Shushu. But Shushu's not a champion now. He need to do his work, like Boots Ennis and fucking David Benavidez need to fucking do their work. I understand young fighters clout chasing the star pound for pound superstars, but you got to stay in your lane. Just because you're fucking clout chasing a dude don't mean you deserve the fight. That fighter too has his own goals and his own fucking direction, things he wants to do, and they don't necessarily fucking have anything to do with you. He can move up to 126 in his final 2 or 3 years, 126 and retire. Exactly. When 126 actually has a fighter, maybe Shushu goes on to unify titles and prove that he is the man. And then fucking there you go. Inoue move up, try to become a 5-weight world champion, fighting a black American fighter who's proven he's the best. At that point would have lots of name recognition. That fight then could potentially bring Inoue to the States for a huge fight. It ticks me off that Nunes isn't getting a title shot. Hearns doesn't want him beating the British hype job. Yeah, that's true. We know every time you bring a Mexican fighter, is Nunes Mexican? I don't think so, right? But whenever you bring a Latin American fighter over to the UK to fight a British champion, we know what happens. Bob Father was a little scared after Neri sat Inoue on his ass, so it's back to cherry picking. John Mays, you only expose yourself as ignorant because literally that stuff has nothing to do with Bob Arum. Bob Arum's not fucking the one making the fights with Inoue in Japan. Inoue has his own promotional company, Japanese promotional company. Bob Arum's job is to distribute his fights in the US. And if he comes to the US, then promote his fights in the States. But if he's fighting in Japan, Bob Arum is just distributing his fights. That's all he's doing. He has zero fucking input into who Inoue fights. Zero. But people love to push fucking narratives and expose how ignorant they are. Do you see Zepeda fighting Shakur or Baranchek next? Obviously, Baranchek. It's a smart way to go. You win a world title. Now, Zepeda Shakur fight is for unification. Makes way more sense. It's a way bigger fight. Potentially, you could even do it on pay per view. You have him fight Shakur now for just a WBC title. Okay. Haney had Loma pooping his pants from body shots. Imagine what happens when Tank touches his body. Why are people such liars and fucking trolls? Literally, Haney was the one crying to his father in the corner. I think Junto is an awesome fighter, but I think it's possible that Astrolabia will pull off the upset. In lower weights, it can sometimes be a wild card on how good a guy's chin is. Astrolabio is getting fucking flatlined. Flatlined. Smash the likes. Yes, people. What if Astrolabia catches Nakatani? Can he take it? Who's fucking Astrolabia? You're acting like he's fucking Tank Davis. Do you think Junto and Inui would fight each other after being both from Japan? Of course they would. Japan has no fucking problem fighting Japanese fighters. I mean, Tanaka went up to 115 pounds to fight Ioka. He could have fought one of the other champions, but he challenged the Japanese fighter, Ioka, to try to become a four-weight unified champion or a four-weight champion. Junto Nakatani and Nui, once again, it's the biggest fight in Japanese boxing history. Why wouldn't they take that fight? It's fucking legacy. Bud is on his way out with no intention to fight Boots. Yeah, why would he fight Boots? He's trying to get a Canelo Alvarez fight. And like Bud said, if he beat fucking Canelo, then he'd just retire, as he should. You beat Canelo to become a three-weight undisputed champion, beating another pound-for-pound fighter. At this point of his career, he should just fucking later, bitches, right? Because there's nothing else for him to prove. Go out undefeated, a three-time undisputed champion. That shit's fucking legendary. And I ain't saying he needs to fight Canelo. That's him wanting to do that because of obviously the huge statement it is. I don't think he needs to move to 168 to take on Canelo Alvarez, but I'm not the one dictating his career. He will do what he wants to do. He's a big boy. Sean, if John is here, can you please tell him to unblock me and not be a hypocrite? I can't see his comments. He's a coward. He's not here. I haven't seen any John boxing comments. No, I'm not a Spence fan, and I still would like to see Bud fight Boots. PBC stands for Prevent Bud Crawford. Am I right, Sean? Not prevent, but yeah. Definitely fucking avoid and duck him. Stringer fan from above, what's up? Do you see John boxing in the comments? I don't see him in the comments. Why PBC is what made the Spence fight? Well, actually, what made the Spence fight was Errol Spence. Errol Spence made the fight. And it looks like Astrolabia is training hard. Oh my God. Yes. And Junto Nakatani is fucking eating fucking, cheeseburgers in California. I think Monster stops Spam in devastating fashion. It would be a great fight. Stylistic matchup. Wow. Tank was looking to quit so many times in sparring against Haney. Tank runs so many red lights. He lunges in and crosses his feet. I think Loma will keep it at the center of the ring and school him. Like he did Walters. Yeah, and Rigo, who's a southpaw. But the difference is Lomachenko is 37 years old. Tank Davis is prime and is a guy with one-punch power. So Lomachenko can literally go out there and school Tank Davis for 6 or 7 rounds. It still doesn't mean Tank Davis potentially isn't going to knock him out. We've never seen Lomachenko knocked out, but that doesn't mean it couldn't happen. I'm a huge Lomachenko fan, but I'm not going to underestimate and downplay fucking Tank Davis. Tank Davis is fucking a great fighter with legendary power, right? He's dangerous, super dangerous. And he's obviously more mature and older than he was before. Don't you think Bam should win titles from Inui's brother before challenging the monster? Not Bam, Junto Nakatani. Junto Nakatani should unify WBC title versus WBA, beat Inui, which would then make that fight with him and Inui fucking gargantuan. As again, I say again, the biggest fight in Japanese boxing history. And I know some Americans, they just can't comprehend that, there's actually life outside the US. But there's life outside the US. Inui can fight Junto Nakatani in the biggest fight in Japanese history. He does not need to fucking worry about the US market. He does not need to worry about the US fans. He doesn't need to direct his career based on what some YouTube channels from the States say. Because in truth, they're fucking irrelevant. He was just offered millions of dollars to go fight on the undercard of Anthony Joshua. Right? That's what kind of global star he is, that they literally want to pay him millions of dollars to fight on AJ's undercard. He's the one that said, well, I don't need to fucking do that. I did that before. Now, no. Even though I think it'd be great if he fought on AJ's undercard. What a fucking platform. But, his team feels they're huge in Japan. If they're going to go abroad, they're going to fucking be the showcase fight, not an undercard fight. And that's fair. Junto has said many times that he wants to smoke with Inui. Of course he does. You, sir, sound very uneducated. Well, he's just pushing narratives, that's all. Lady boys on you when I come to Taiwan, Sean. You got to go to Thailand, buddy, not Taiwan. John Boxing. Why also amazing you keep asking for John Boxing? If John is here, I will read his comment and you will know. You're wrong, Sean. Benavidez already proved himself and was a world champion. Who did he beat? Like, he proved himself last year by beating Plant, who Canelo's already beaten, and Demetrius Andrade. Best year of his career. But prior to that, he did fucking nothing. Nothing. Less than nothing. Yeah, Eduardo Nunez is Mexican. Haha. Benavidez also proved he can't make 168 and lost his title on the scale. Yeah, but since then, he's fought like 6 times. Abdullah Mason looks amazing. I'd love to see Kermel versus Abdullah Mason fight in the future. Calm down, dude. Kermel Moton is fucking... It's really premature to be talking about an Abdullah Mason Kermel Moton fight. Abdullah Mason is very much further along than Moton is. I think Nunez is better than William Zepeda. Zepeda is another Munguia. I know, you fucking just love to fucking push hates, dude. It was because of nose candy. All right, ignore me. Salute. So you give Astrolabia no chance at all? I've never seen Nakatila get hit flush. Astrolabia lost to Jason Maloney, but he was game, and Jason is a better brother. Yeah, and we saw what Nakatani did to fucking the brother. Oh, my bad, Alonzo. I missed it. I don't see John Boxing. It's another John. John Mays. Which could be John Boxing. I think John's name is Mays. But the problem is, when you're on YouTube, you never know if fucking these people are real or if the accounts are real or it's just a guy trolling or what the situation is. If it was John, I think he'd be asking to jump on the live. I have Nakatani on a parlay, and FanDuel is giving me a chance to cash out on even money. I just worried for some reason. I think Astrolabia will at least put up a good fight. Yeah, he's a solid fighter. Why is everyone asking about John Boxing? Who is that guy? Just one of my favorite guy that is my biggest fans. Loves my channel. Loves my content. Every time they say Tank was too young for Loma, I say Sotillo and Devin weren't too young. LDBC gets speechless. Yes, exactly. Inui is my number one pound for pound fighter. Second is Usyk. Third is Canelo. Fourth is Crawford. Fifth is Bivol. Richard, you got Crawford pretty low, man. He should definitely be above Canelo. A great puncher only had to be right once. That's true. And that's why you can't look past a guy like Tank Davis. If you were Shakur, would you have turned down 15 million for 15 fights guaranteed from Top Rank? No, I wouldn't. Because some of the biggest fights for him are Top Rank fights. Let the monster create his legacy the way he wants. Exactly. Bud versus Canelo, video game fight. We didn't see Roy go up 20 pounds in fight levels, or Klitschko's, and now people got pushing Bud for Canelo. Actually, we did see Roy Jones go up to fucking heavyweight to fight John Ruiz to become a heavyweight world champion. I hope you feel that way for all boxers. That guy beats Joe Cordina is going to fight Josh Warrington. Meanwhile, Sugar Nunez is getting frozen out. One fight I'm interested in is Angelo Leo, Venado Lopez. Who do you got in that one? Lopez by KO, but True School Sports is hyping up Angelo Leo. He loves that dude. Just trolling Gramps. Trolling who? Me or trolling who? By calling me Gramps, it might be John Boxing after all. Bud and Canelo is the fight of the era, two most accomplished fighters of the decade. You know, like I say, Bud doesn't need to go up and fight Canelo. But it's a huge statement for him to go up and beat Canelo Alvarez to become a 3-weight undisputed champion, right? And to become a 5-weight world champion. Like, he's knocking down fucking historical legacy things left, right, and fucking center by doing that. If Bud wants to fight, then let's make it happen. Exactly. Fantasy fights between Bam and the Galaxy brothers. Who wins? Well, the one Galaxy brother would lose, but the number one brother, you might have to favor him over Bam at this point, because that dude was a real fucking hard puncher, man. Real hard puncher. People say Rungvisai was a hard puncher. That's because they don't know who fucking Galaxy is. You throwing out that comment shows that you're a boxing historian. But a lot of people in this comment section don't know who the Galaxy brothers are, right? And in truth, they probably should go to YouTube and watch some of the older, better Galaxy brothers fights. He was very one-dimensional, 1-2, 1-2. But when you have the power he had, that's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. Angelo Leo is a good fighter. Where am I? Jumped up fucking 27 pages again. I would rather see Bud try for a third undisputed run. Vardo Lopez Leo is the same night as Ortiz and the Ukrainian. Good fights for boxing. Needs to get its shit together. He can do both. Samson Canelo pulled Charlo from the same place. Sorry, but I'm confused. Angelo Leo's a good fighter. Yeah, he's a good fighter, but he's never proven that he's fucking world class. Would you like to see Wilder versus a Coley fight at Bridgerweight? No. He's actually good, unlike Hrgovic and Naji Lopez. Is Thunderdome a white supremacist? Maybe. I don't know. I just saw that he came back from his long absence. I like True School. True School is fine, but the problem is some narratives he pushes don't make much sense. Big Bro wasn't available, so Little Bro stepped up. Crawford was at 147, 3 weight classes lower at the same time. But he does go overboard on a couple guys that didn't deserve the praise yet. That's my point. Kosei and Kokar Galaxy, I remember them always wanted a Tapia versus Galaxy fight. I heard Naji Lopez got knocked down by a no-name a few days ago and barely won. Well, it wasn't a no-name. He was facing another guy similar to him, an undefeated fighter who had like 15, 16 fights. So it was a quality opposition. I mean, who's Naji Lopez? He's not a guy that has been beating world-class fighters. He's a guy that made statements beating lesser-known opponents and knocking them out, looking impressive. They threw him in with a good opponent, unbeaten opponent, and he got good work, right? No one's calling him a pound-for-pound fucking fighter. Your previous comment said 2 divisions, meaning currently. Either way, Canelo had and still has a bunch of smoke at 168. Lopez is beatable. I think it's good value to bet on Leo. Yeah, probably bet-wise it is. Klitschko, Holyfield, Tyson ran scared from Roy Jones, and they knew they would get schooled by Roy. Oh my God. Roy Jones literally picked the weakest fucking link, and no one blames him. But imagine that being today, and it being a non-black American fighter that did that. Holy crap. But Roy Jones literally picked the weakest link. That's what he did. And fair play. He literally moved from 175 to fucking heavyweight. The last person to do that was who? Michael Spinks. But Michael Spinks fought the best fucking heavyweight, the #1 heavyweight. He chased the guy coming off a long layoff, 2 divisions smaller, and on an injury. I didn't watch Naji Lopez's fight with that guy, so I can't pass an opinion. Come on. Like I say, Bud Crawford does not need to move up to take on Canelo Alvarez. But for Bud Crawford's legacy, if he wins, that's huge. Understandably, for Canelo, he's thinking, why would I take that fight? If I beat Bud Crawford, it's not a huge victory for me. People are going to say, literally, I cherry-picked a guy who's much smaller coming up in weight, which is true. But I think in history, he will get a lot more praise from historians because historians see the past when this is not that big of a deal. Historically, having a guy come up from 154, 147, because there was no 154, to 160 was not a big fucking deal. We had middleweights that went up to heavyweight to take on fucking Jack Johnson, right? We had middleweights move up to light heavyweight and then heavyweight to beat Marciano. So historically, this shit's always happened. It's always been a part of boxing. John Sean put the crack pipe down, buddy. Elijah Garcia loves to a bum. Janibek is dehydrated. 160 really is bad now. That's the thing. There's no more excuses Canelo can make when it comes to fighting Crawford. Well, he doesn't have to fight Crawford, right? He can go fight Eubank in the UK. Wait for the winner of Bivol Benavidez or Beterbiev and take on that fighter for him to become a 2-weight undisputed champion. At this point, Canelo Alvarez has already made his legacy, just like Bud Crawford. Crawford could fight Madrimov and retire tomorrow. He doesn't need to do anything more. The only guy at 160 that I'm high on right now is Shiraz. Shiraz is good. I was hoping to see Shiraz versus Janibek, but if Janibek can't make weight, then we'll see what happens. Maybe Janibek should work out with Shiraz because Shiraz is way bigger than Janibek and he makes weight, right? But, you know, it is what it is. You never know how things are going to play out. What happened to Jermaine Taylor's personal life-wise? Is he in prison? I never see him, hear about him. He had tons of legal issues. I don't know if he's currently in prison, but he's consistently fucking in and out of prison. So this is the middleweight division right now. I would love to see Janibek fight Carlos Adames. Lara, no one gives a fuck about him. He couldn't sell fucking a family barbecue. But Shiraz, who's obviously ranked #1 and #1, there would be a great opponent. The good thing is he's going to get one of them. He's going to get Adames or he's going to get Janibek. That's fantastic. Obviously, Eubank is there. Garcia just lost, which is disappointing. Mosley won, but no one's fucking intrigued by Mosley. He's never been world class. So 160, the best thing that can happen here is some guys from this division moving up. You know, guys like Hurd. I don't know why Hurd hasn't moved up to 160 already, or even Charlo, right? Guys like Jesus Ramos eventually will move up in this division. Guys like fucking Sebastian Funduro will eventually move up to that division. That's the thing, right? You know, there's always fighters that are eventually going to move up and fill out a division and you know, give it depth and intrigue and some more exciting fights. It's like we we're talking about Janibek moving to 168. I mean, this division is popping off, right? And in truth, I would not mind seeing Canelo Alvarez drop his titles and go up to 175 to try to fight the winner of Bivol Beterbiev. Beterbiev, and then allow these other fighters at this weight class to fight amongst themselves for these divisions. When you think about Benavidez, Morel, Mimbila, Munguia, Pacheco, Saggio, fucking Iglesias, right? Plant, Berlanga, Lester Martinez is super exciting. Bekmel Kuziev. That's 11 dudes I just named. William Skull, number 12. You throw up fucking Janibek. That's 13. 13. I didn't even mention my Canadian fighter, Eric Bezinian, who's obviously ranked number 2 by the WBO. So that's 14 quality fighters at 168 pounds. 14, right? And that's not including Canelo Alvarez, who obviously is 15. But Canelo Alvarez is doing his thing. He literally does not need to fight any of these guys. You throw Zach Parker in there for number 15. He's obviously going to try to bounce back, right? The Luke Plantic guy, Croatian kid. You know, this division is deep, deep. And there's a shitload of fucking really, really exciting fights that could be made, right? And none of them involve Canelo. You don't need Canelo involved in the conversation because these guys, once again, should be trying to build their own fucking legacy and not all clout chasing from Canelo Alvarez. What does Canelo and Boots got to fight Crawford? They don't. Oshaki was boring, Sean. Did you think he got robbed? He super got robbed. Super got robbed. But yes, it was a boring performance. What did Carlos Adames look like in his last fight? I missed it. He did not look great. He did not look great. Hollow Ninja Canelo will get no credit for beating Bud. Very little. Bud will get no credit for beating Canelo. What? Bud would get shitloads of credit for beating Canelo. Bud has been far more scrutinized in his career. Oh, come on, man. If Bud beats Canelo Alvarez, jumping up fucking from 154 to 168, he's going to be legendary. If Canelo beats Bud, which won't happen, he does credit because Bud asked for it. No, come on, Hollow Ninja. That's wrong. Lomo School tank if he doesn't get caught with anything big, potentially. I thought Munguia was going to fight Bazinian. Not a terrible fight, but he's not a killer either. But that's a good fight. Bazinian's a hard puncher, but he sort of capped off, right? He showed that he's got a sort of his level. Whereas Munguia obviously hasn't had many fights at 154. So this would be another fight against a good fighter, but a beatable fighter. And then maybe you could do a Munguia versus Janibek, a Munguia versus Berlanga, Mexico versus Puerto Rico, Munguia versus fucking Caleb Plant, right? There's shitloads of fucking fights that can be made. Loma is getting older, though, and Tank is in his prime. That's true. That's why I'm leaning towards Tank Davis. You're a man fan for Crawford. Canelo would hurt Bud bad. Potentially he could. The problem is Canelo's feet are slow. If Bud wants to fight boring behind a jab, move, and try to catch Canelo, he could fight that way and potentially not really have to deal with too much of Canelo's power. I was expecting more Ryan N-word videos, Sean. From me? Why? Have I been talking about Ryan Garcia? I'm not one of these other channels that's just using fucking people's names consistently to make the same fucking video every day so I can get fucking clicks and make money off of YouTube. I make boxing videos about what I want to make. I hope people appreciate it and like to watch it. But if they don't, it doesn't matter because I'm doing what fulfills me. Maybe it's not the best thing. Maybe I should put out fucking Shakur Stevens, Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis fights every fucking day. Videos just on that. But I've never done it. I'm not trying to fucking cash out on Ryan Garcia's name. I've barely even talked about any of this stuff at all. So why would I talk about the whole N-word situation? I blatantly went out and said, I don't want to hear Ryan Garcia on social media fucking talk ever again. And that's it. I don't need to fucking put out a video regarding that. Everybody knows he shouldn't fucking say that. So why do I have to say it? I have to say it so that I can pull myself away from it. Yes, Ryan Garcia saying the N-word was bad. Yeah, we all know it was bad. It was a stupid maneuver from a guy that consistently does things that are stupid. Fucking surprised. Nobody. I like the facts. You are emotional and rushing to conclusions. You don't know nothing about the world of combat. Fan from another man is sad. I love Canelo, but he does some lame shit at times, as every boxer does. Zaki, this is a boxing channel, not a drama channel. Go over to Punch Drunk or Showbiz if you want that content. Exactly. Those dudes just want people to click on their clickbait titles. Go to Fanon. Go to any of them. I can say the same about you and Canelo. You do think it's the best guy at 140 now. The division seems wide open now that Subriel Matias and Russell shit the bed. Yeah, from a division that was seen as 168 is seen now, deep and with a lot of great fighters. Now the division seems fucking empty, right? Ryan is retired. Haney's fucking exposed. Lopez is inconsistent. Matias fucking got beat. Russell was a hype job. Pero is going to fight fucking Kambosos in Australia. There's not much worth talking about at 140 pounds. Not until Ryan Garcia comes back and rematches fucking Devin Haney next year. Yeah, but Bud will lose boxing Canelo Lara. I think Lindolf Delgado is a good fighter. That dude at 140 that's trained by Robert Garcia. Yeah, it's amazing that Lindolf Delgado has got such little push, right? He was a guy that was signed by that Switzerland dude that was part of Golden Boy, that robbed Golden Boy and gave it to Al Heyman, and then was involved with a few new startup promotional companies that never really lived up to things. And that was one of the first signings he signed, Delgado. And basically because he was a startup promoter, didn't have really any network or money behind him, Delgado was kind of in limbo, right? Until now, finally, he signed with a new promoter and is starting to get a little bit of push. But you can't, because I'm not a Canelo fan, assuming only makes you look foolish. And right now it's showing. Haney, Ryan, Shakur, Ryan all crashed out. And then there's the Ernesto Machado is a good fighter too. He looks good. There's lots of good young fighters, right? That's why I say boxing continues to move forward. I know John wants to make it all about black boxers, but it's just boxing in general consistently moves forward. Yes, that includes black American boxers too, just like fucking everybody else, Mexican fighters and everyone else. Like Mexico's consistently, like he says that, and then he uses Philippines as an example. Who's the next Pacquiao? Philippines isn't producing tons of great fighters, not like black Americans. What? Like, why don't you use a country that's more comparable, like Mexico? Mexico also consistently pumping out world champion after world champion. Espinoza beats fucking Cuban Olympic gold medalist to become a WBO champion. Nobody knew who Espinoza was before he beat that guy. And now he's seen as probably the best fighter at 126 pounds, right? Always coming out producing fucking great young fighters. Dudes go to fucking England, beat all the English world champions, come back world champions consistently, right? Boxing continues to put out and produce up and coming young fighters all the time. Yes, black Americans, Mexicans, fucking British, Eastern Europeans, Asian, Latin American. Boxing continuously produces great young fighters. And that's what's great about all sports, because they all do that. Unless you don't know who wins, Adrian Broner versus Rolly. Are they going to do that fight? Oh, it makes sense. It makes sense. They might as well do it. Richard Schaefer is who you're referring to. Yes, Richard Schaefer. Who won the Muratalla Tevin Farmer fight? Nobody's even mentioned it. I assume Muratalla won. Liam Power versus Teo in Australia. That is what's being pushed, and it makes sense. That fight will sell in Australia. Muratalla won. Mention us brothers again, Mr. Newton. I thought we talked boxing over here. No, I'm only mentioning you brothers in context to John Boxing and the narratives that he pushes. Because I made a statement that the great thing about boxing is it's always producing great young fighters. And I use his narrative that he only acts like Black American fighters are the ones doing that. And they do. I said it, right? We're talking about great young fighters and Black American young guys, top rank, who I've been praising fucking for the last 20 years, consistently produces great young Black fighters, all guys with great amateur pedigree, and leads them into world title status. But the problem is people making it all racial and only highlighting one race and trying to dismiss and downplay others, which is exactly what you or John Boxing did by using the Philippines and Japan to try to discredit them by comparing them to the States. So you're comparing much smaller countries with a much shorter history in boxing to America to try to do what? Build up America and shit on Asia? Like, that's what people do all the time. Why not just give fucking everyone credit? Literally. But if you don't like it, you can fuck off, John Mays. I'm lost by your logic. What is wrong with being a fan of a fighter? Nothing's wrong with being a fan of a fighter. I mean, it's like being a fan of a sports team. John loves Green Bay, right? People are fans of teams. So why wouldn't you be fans of players? I'm a Liverpool fan, but I'm a fan of Messi too. I've never been a Barcelona fan or the FC Miami team, but I'm a Messi fan. I was happy he won World Cup, but I'm a Liverpool fan. Being a fan of boxers is not a problem as long as you're not demented fan, like say Knockout Boxing, who fanboys so hard for fucking Spence, who he now doesn't mention because he was exposed. Now he puts all that energy towards fanboying Tank Davis, literally doing what? Shitting all over fucking Shakur, shitting all over Devin Haney. Literally, he's fucking using these guys to fanboy his fighter and disrespecting, downplaying, and ripping these fucking great young fighters apart. But you don't need to do that. Haney and Shakur are great fighters. So's Tank. All boxing fans want to do is see them fight so we can see who is the best. We don't need to ridicule and hate on another one, like people coming here saying Lomachenko is going to get destroyed. Maybe Loma's going to get knocked out by Tank Davis. That would be a huge victory for Tank Davis to do what nobody else has ever been able to do. But let's give Lomachenko credit for fucking wanting to fight Tank Davis. He doesn't need to fight Tank Davis. That's not JB. I know it's not. Lindolf Delgado is fighting on the Angelo Leo Vardo undercard against a good opponent. One guy I'm kind of high on, but at the same time, I think is kind of chinny is Elijah. Well, Elijah just got beat, right? Elijah Pierce. Oh, okay. Yeah. The 122 pounder, I think he is. He was supposed to fight a couple weeks ago, but something came up kind of similar to what happened to Janibek. Okay. So he's probably going to move to 126. Pierce is fine, but he's at a level, right? He's not at world-class level. And that's not disrespectful. There's not a lot of dudes that are world-class. There's a lot of good fighters, but that doesn't mean they're world-class. And it's not disrespectful to fucking be honest about it. You guys don't need to be fucking, not everyone's going to be world-class. That's the problem with BoxRec. They still didn't tell me who won. Oh, okay. Angelo Leo won by unanimous decision. Scorecards, pretty close. 94-95, or 95-94, 97-92, 96-93. Farmer deducted 1 point for holding in round 8, which obviously would have made a draw on the Dom Cheatham card, and then he still would have lost the other 2 cards. So it would have been a split decision loss if that point wasn't taken away. I didn't see that because it was on Top Rank. And obviously, I was watching DAZN because DAZN's on my TV, so it's very convenient. But not too many people were even mentioning it. I think when the Janibek fight fell through, people kind of lost interest in that card overall. And I think people haven't been that impressed by Muratala's last couple performances. Shakur has been asking for a Tank fight. Give it to him. He deserves it. Yeah, but just because you want it doesn't mean that's what you're going to get, right? No, Pierce wasn't weight drained. I just think he was injured. Oh, okay. Machado, I seen you stalking the brothers' channels. Oh, my God. Stalking the brothers' channel. Yet here you are stalking my channel. The hypocrisy, right? The reality is you can't really stalk the brothers' channel if you're Machado, because we know what the brothers would do. They would fucking block him and not let him say fucking anything on their channel. Whereas you're here free to speak, because even though I'm not American, I believe in freedom of speech. Just watch what you say. If anybody knows that quote, leave it in the comment section below. Nothing wrong being a fan at all. You are not a fan. You're a man fan. That's the difference. Stay woke. Stay woke. I was impressed by David Ab tonight. Really good performance. It wasn't a good fight to me because it took place. Huh? It wasn't a good fight to me before it took place. Ah, okay. Yeah, but that's because, David, you tend to be a bit of a hater, right? Anybody that didn't think it was just as good, if not better, than fucking Cody Crowley, it's a solid opponent, right? I was more interested in Janibek fight a little bit, even though Janibek was fighting a dude that's not anywhere fucking close to David Avician's fucking level. Nowhere close. Not even close to fucking Cody Crowler's level. He's literally fighting a guy that's never fucking beat anyone. Literally, he's the epitome of a domestic level fucking fighter. Education is more important. Let that sink in. I'm just saying. You know, let's take a quick peek of this this thing here. So 135. You know, I would love to see Shakur fight William Zepeda, but I do expect William Zepeda to fight Dennis Branchek to become a champion, which is cool. Then Shakur can fight William for unification. Tank and Loma are fighting for unification. Then the pressure is definitely going to be on Tank Davis, if he beats Lomachenko, to take on Shakur, because it would be for undisputed. And literally, there's no other fight that's nearly as big, right? But of course, Tank Davis fans are going to find excuses to not have him fight Shakur. Why? Because Shakur is dangerous. And that's true. Maybe the Shakur fight will be boring, but the truth is they are two of the best fighters in boxing. And maybe the fight will surprise us. Maybe it'll be better than anticipated. Now that Raymond Muratalo won, I wonder what will happen with him. Maybe he will fight Stevenson. Of course, now he's no longer with Top Rank, so that fight probably won't happen. Keyshawn Davis fight, he's no longer with Top Rank, so that fight probably won't happen. Lomachenko, he's no longer with Top Rank, so that fight probably won't happen. So I don't really know what Shakur hopes to accomplish. If he signs with DAZN, then potentially he could get that William Zepeda fight. But Dennis Branchek, isn't he sort of signed with Top Rank as well? So literally, you don't even have the unification fight unless William Zepeda wins if you fight with DAZN. If you sign with Mayweather, then it looks like you're opening the door for a Tank Davis fight. But Tank Davis is fighting a Top Rank fighter in Lomachenko next. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds. I'm just curious to know what DAZN is going to do with Andy Cruz next. Obviously, Andy Cruz is being fast tracked. You can see him here ranked on 3 of the 4 sanctioning bodies. Oh, 5. So he's ranked by all 5 of the sanctioned bodies as he should be. I don't know how Tevin Farmer is ranked because literally he never fought anybody. But they obviously used him so they could put Muratalla up to number 2. I wonder if they'll put him above William Zepeda. They shouldn't, but you never know. But the division's got some good fights. It's just a matter of making them, right? Let's go down to 126 pounds because this apparently is the weight class that Inoue needs to move to. Yet at this weight class, the only fight that makes sense at all is a Nick Ball fight, right? I thought if he went on that AJ fight, you could do a Nick Ball, right? Inoue versus Nick Ball for his WBA title to become a 4-weight world champion, 5-weight world champion, on a huge pay-per-view card with AJ. But outside of that, Ray Vargas, nobody wants to see Inoue fight Ray Vargas. Lopez, okay, but nobody knows who Lopez is. Espinoza, come on, once again, nobody knows who this guy is, right? It's funny that Robsy Ramirez, who was the WBO champion, is now no longer even, he's ranked number 4. How does he become number 4 going from champion, having guys like Arnold Kagi, Sergio Sanchez, and Bruce Carrington above him? That shit's ridiculous. Ruben Villa was number 1 here, but he just lost today to a guy that's not even ranked on the fucking sanctioning body. So obviously Robsy Ramirez might become Ray Vargas's mandatory. That's a good fight. Even though nobody's excited to watch fucking Ray Vargas fight. That dude is boring. I don't have to prove any. Okay, where are we? JB going to be mad. You stole his photo. Richard Sampson, I follow boxing to a T. I don't even call anyone a casual that is on these lives unless they say something totally on the top. I know everything I said, bro. You just showed me that you have no evidence and you're just making statements. Thanks, though. Understood. Machado, who is JB? What? Ruben Villa lost? Yes, Ruben Villa lost because he is garbage. He lost to Sagawa. No surprise. I predicted that in my predictions section. There we go. Suleiman Sagawa beat him pretty fucking convincingly. Even though nobody knows who fucking Sagawa is. Where's my predictions? Let's take a peek at those just to put it in perspective so you can see that I'm not lying. Where is it? Oh, what did I do? I thought I fucking picked Sagawa, but I picked Villa. Come on, Sean. I had Lopez by 4th round. That didn't work out. I had Villa by UD. That didn't work out. Muratalla by 9th round. That didn't work out. Alakumi didn't fight. Cole by UD. Nicholson by UD. LeBron, that fight was canceled. Hackett by 8th round TKO. That didn't work. Ennis by 5th round TKO. I got that one. Head fucking on. Sanchez by UD. Gonzalez by 6th round TKO. Went to the 10th. Batchergayev by 9th round TKO. You know, the problem with BoxRec is Batchergayev fought, but BoxRec won't tell me the outcome. I guess that's good because I can go watch the fight and I don't know the result. But yeah. Oh, I thought I picked Sagawa to beat fucking Villa. Why was it so hooked into my mind that I did? Terrible. Batagayev is a real deal. I picked him to beat Roach at 130. He might be the best at 130. I think so. I think he's the best at 130 for sure. I always thought he was a good little fighter. Sean, where do you make your predictions at? A prediction league. Online. Where are we? Vila is decent. He just can't punch. Crazy. He was like 15-1 favorite. You said in one of your comments that Bud is 2 weight divisions below Canelo, so that means you are talking about the current. Keep in mind, Vila beat Renato Lopez, even though it was a long time ago. Yes, a long time ago. The debate is pointless. Please stop while you're behind. I was saying that Canelo could have fought one of the guys at 168, but he chose Charlo. So I'm writing off Angelillo against Bardo. That's crazy. I'm not writing him off. I just think he's going to get knocked out. Badagav won by KO. Sean, sorry. You prick. He's the real deal. I'm light years beyond you, bro. Catch up. Good live, Sean. Peace and blessings. Peace out, brother. Enjoy your weekend, what's left of it. I'm going to cash out as well. I want to go watch that Albert Batagaya fight. So obviously another place you can watch fights. So it's a good place to check out. Batman Boxing. He puts out all the fights. So never fear. He is there. All the fights are there. Even Vila versus Sagawa. But I'm not interested in that. I want to watch this one. Albert Batagav versus John O'Carroll. John O'Carroll, good opponent, ranked high. Now I think by beating him, he becomes mandatory for the WBA 130-pound title. You have a great rest of the week, Sean. Cheers, brother. I will see you guys later. Enjoy your weekend. By the way, Sean, Trump got shot in the ear. I heard. Or how about Raymond Ford and Nunez? Throw Lee Wood in the mix too. I'd be happy with any of that, right? I just want to see guys fight. Let's get them fighting. But peace out, everyone. Enjoy what's left of your weekend, and I will see you next time. Ciao.